Vivian Sue. It's so
Hi,
nice to
Mark.
see you. Today, folks, we're going to talk with Vivian Sue, who is the founder and CEO of Lend Donate, a online platform to help impact investors, foundations, donors, etc., support nonprofits and others. And we're going to talk about that and also talk about Fintech and unpack that. So super excited to have you here to learn more about Lend Donate and Vivian's great background. Go to the website lenddonate.org
Huh?
and anyway, so let's dive in. So Vivian, let's set the table and talk a little bit about fintech. What does that mean? Obviously it's like finance and technology, but what does it really mean and how does it show up today?
Yeah. So, by the name, that sounds sexy, but it's
Yeah.
actually really been around for a long time. So if we think of technology and financial services merged together, it didn't start with like the last 20 or 30, even 30 years. The term has been more popular during this period, but think back to my former employer, Charles Schwab, who actually pioneered using the telephone to dial for a stock quote. And
Mm-hmm.
of course, the rest is history, as they say.
Mm-hmm.
So currently, fintech is considered maybe, I want to describe it as financial services supported by technology. And then also another category that's technologically enabled innovation in financial services. So let me
And
tell you what, yeah.
yeah, go ahead.
I'll tell you what I mean by that. When it's technology led, the second case is when there's a new technology, let's say AI, that is innovated and created, and then the creators of the particular type of technology is going to look through all the industry verticals, whether it be financial services, healthcare, other services where their technology can be applicable. And so that's more technology driven in all verticals. Then there is the financial services. We need technology to support us doing something faster, better, cheaper, all that. So two major camps is I would group under the big umbrella of fintech.
And do you think it's is it like better, faster, quicker, more? Is that kind of the idea? And then secondly, to that point, for the old school bankers, you miss that. Does it replace the one-on-one experience and understanding your borrower?
Yeah, no. So in many cases, it cannot replace the people. In
Yeah.
some cases, it's been, there's a lot of resistance, but ultimately it's like, okay, fine, right? ATM machine, for example, is an example, right? It's like, oh, I can't trust the card. What if I lose it? What if, I don't remember the PIN? All kinds of resistance in the earlier days, but can you imagine now not having an ATM card? So exactly, like, oh my gosh. So, um, there is a certain level of mindset shifting, but
Hmm.
fintech is here to stay.
Yeah. Yeah. And interesting that Schwab, that you draw upon your experience with Schwab. That's kind of interesting. Well, obviously Charles Schwab, but who are the major players today? Who would you point to? And I live in San Francisco and drive by these billboards, and I don't even know what half of them mean. You're like, oh my gosh, what does that even mean? But certainly, folks like SoFi are up on billboards and others. Who would you say are the major players in? And obviously, fintech is a huge world, but who are the major players? Or maybe
Yeah,
even what are the buckets you would see?
yeah. So I'll give share a few kind of more household names, especially for the
Yeah.
Bay Area people, and depending on what areas of focus. So using SoFi as an example, SoFi is a online lender, but they've expanded beyond that, right? Just like many companies, they're now having different services. Other companies that came before SoFi, like Lending Club and Prosper Marketplace in the lending business, they've also morphed their businesses. They're one category of fintech in lending. And then there are wealth management technology. So Robinhood is one. I know recently, they've been in the news a lot, tied with GameStop. And then another innovative, also online wealth advice is Ellevest, aiming to support women investors. And yeah, exactly. Women think of investments differently from men in general. And also is people have assumed in the past that women are more risk averse. but as LFS has really been great about sharing, it's not that women are more risk averse, it's women are more risk aware. And when you're more aware of the risk, you're more thoughtful or careful or something about the investment. So those are examples of wealth management. In payments, payments is huge.
Yeah.
Behind PayPal and all those names on the front end that we see, there are a lot of back end providers that integrate into banks, for example. Zelle is an example.
Mhm.
Stripe, Plaid, sometimes you see power by kind of thing with them. Bitcoin, the cryptocurrency is popular. Coinbase is one of those companies that's also kind of hot for people to be using for cryptocurrency. And then there's a whole slew of AI technology that's less of a household name, but they are very hot.
So you would kind of define it as the front end, the like the payment systems, and then maybe even like coders behind that, or companies providing the algorithms and all of the data technology and all of that.
Yeah, even as you were saying, like the traditional providers, just me, like banks, they know they will be left behind if they don't innovate in technology. So for the larger banks, they usually have in-house division, like Bank of America, Wells Fargo, they have a whole team. Other banks integrate these service providers so that we as consumers can use online banking services.